All right, here we go with game number 3. This is the final game in a 3-part series where I'm playing this Doctor Strange Burn team. We are currently tied 1-1, so it comes down to this final decisive game, and I end up with 3 bolts, and I want to ping his sidekick, but he doesn't have a sidekick to ping. So I'm going to pay 2 bolts for a magic missile via the Red Dragon Global, and I'm going to pass my turn. So let's see what he rolls on his first turn. These have been both very close, very competitive games, so I'm expecting this third game to be just as close and competitive. So he's going to pay 2, and he's going to buy himself an Alfred. Turn number 1, buying an Alfred. He's going to have 2 to PXG with, 2 masks. I PXG 1 time. I can't do anything with that bolt, so it burns. And I move right on to my turn number 2. 6 dice. End up rolling a bunch of different energy. A lot of bolts. I don't really need those bolts too much unless I want to buy potions. Red Dragon Globals help as well, so I could keep them. The shield doesn't do me much good. Let's see what I end up choosing to reroll. See, I have a couple options because I could spend both of those groups of energy to buy some potions. And it looks like I'm going to Red Dragon Global and buy a magic missile first. And let's see what I do with the other one. And buy spin the other 2 to buy a potion. Pass priority over to him. He's going to PXG over 3 dice, giving him 7 dice to roll next turn. So his turn 2 begins. He has his 4 sidekicks that were in the bag left over from starting the game. He's going to roll a sidekick. Let's see if he keeps all those fists and shields. That's a pretty good roll for his team to start off here. He can ping out a sidekick, and he can buy something at a reduced cost. Luckily for me, he doesn't have another bolt. Otherwise, he'd ping out a sidekick and pay 1 for... Oh no, there's the other bolt. Ping out a sidekick and pay 1 for a foot ninja. Let's see if he goes ahead and does that. That'd be a really good, valuable play. So he's going to do that, and he's going to pay. Oh, he's going to pay 1 fist, and then I tell him, oh, it's not a fist action, or it's not a fist energy. It's a bolt energy. So he puts it back, and then he pays the correct way with a bolt. So he knocked out one of his sidekicks in order to allow him to discount that because I brought the Blue Eyes White Dragon, which has that global. Then he's going to pay 2 fists. Buy one of those injection fairy lilies. That's the extent of his turn. I'm going to PXG over 4 dice, and he is going to end his turn. And now it's my turn. Drawing 4 from the bag. Let's see what I get. The past 2 games, I've gotten a bunch of magic missiles, but this time I only get 1. But I do draw the other potion. Unfortunately, that's not going to do me much good, except if I roll it for energy. So that's what I'll be looking to do here. And I did actually roll it on its 2 bolt side. So I have it on its 2 bolt face. Or one of the 2 bolt faces. So I have 4 energy there. My goal here is to buy a Doctor Strange as quickly as possible. To get him in the bag as quickly as possible. And this is good for me too. I rolled all those energy in hopes of getting at least 1 sidekick. Because I need to set up a wall. If you had watched last game, I had to take a lot of damage because I wasn't playing for sidekicks. And so I really need to set up some sort of a really cheap defense, even if it gets pinged out by the Magic Missile Global. At least he's spending energy to do so. So that is the end of my turn. He PXG'd, so he's rolling a lot of dice. And let's see what he gets. So he ends up with the Alfred. He ends up with 2 sidekicks. And it looks like he also got the Foot Ninja. So that is a really good third turn roll for him. He's not even going to do much re-rolling. Perhaps a couple of those just to get some masks to keep his ramp going. Let's see what he chooses to re-roll. He's got 2 fists there that he's covering. I wonder, or 3 fists. I wonder what he's going to choose to re-roll. Looks like he's going to take the 2 fists and the bolt. Re-roll those, and he ends up with 2 more sidekicks. So I know because I have a sidekick, I'll at least be able to block the absurdly powerful Foot Ninja right now. because the Foot Ninja is getting +6, +6, because of all the sidekicks in the field, and it counts mine as well. So I have to PXG before he can move to his attack step. I consider pinging out one of his sidekicks, but it's not really, it doesn't have any point because I can just block with my one sidekick on his Foot Ninja to avoid the big damage and just take the 4, which is what happens. And then he spins a fist to buff one of his sidekicks, so I take 5. Drops me to 15. Now here's a thing that my opponent did that I did not notice. He actually wiped his Foot Ninja as if it had gone to, or straight through and dealt me its damage. He moved it to used. I didn't see that. So technically that should still be out in the field. That's kind of a big deal. And we'll see if that affects anything as it plays out. We'll talk about that as we go. So we aren't going to catch that. That's going to stay there and get cycled. We'll see if that makes a big difference. I end up with three sidekicks here. Go ahead and field those. Then I have a lot of energy with which I can spend. I have 2 masks, technically, one question and 1 mask. I pay 4 for a prismatic spray. And I've got a random 2-face over there, a random 2 generic energy that is not going to get used. So that moves on. We move on. So I could have bought a fireball there. I could have definitely bought a fireball. I could have bought a couple of other things, like save civilians and a magic missile, just to use some of that generic up. But if I do that, I start to fill up my bag with things I don't technically want. And prismatic spray still can come in handy, as it wipes that Foot Ninja buff. Alright, so my opponent has rolled. He's choosing to re-roll his fist and shield, or excuse me, bolt and shield. And he ends up with a bunch of energy. He's spending 3 for another Foot Ninja. Leaving 2 energy in his reserve pool to PXG next, or on my turn. And that's going to be his turn, it looks like. So I will draw, and I will pull out the Doctor Strange that I very badly, very desperately need to roll. I'll also shake up what was in my used pile into the bag, and I end up drawing one of the 2 magic missiles that I've purchased. Give everything a good shake, and right away I have the Doctor Strange on its second level side, or its second face, meaning I'm going to have to pay 2 energy to field it, but that is a small price to pay to have some stability on the board. At the very least, he could ping out my sidekick still, but he's still going to have to deal with that that Doctor Strange. I hit him with a magic missile, which pings him for 4. I also play the potion, which hits him for another 2. And I'm going to pause there. I need to keep this board advantage going as much as possible. And he's kind of in a situation that I was in last game, where his PXG has kind of failed him here, where he could only move over 2 dice. So I'm at an advantage, certainly at an advantage right now. But he's got some characters coming out. Let's see if he's got it. He's got a Foot Ninja. He's got a bunch of other energy, 3 masks, which set up that ramp again, so it can allow him to cycle back through his bag. He's going to field that Foot Ninja for free. He's got a shield and a bunch of other stuff. Now the question is, does he want to buy here? He should buy something that's 2 cost to maximize the amount of dice he can move over next turn. Buying a 3 cost is okay, but you're going to leave 2 sidekicks over in the used pile. Buying a Falcon is a good idea for his team, as it's setting up an unblockable Foot Ninja situation. But the question is, will he be able to get to that? Because I just drew 2 actions. Just there, 3 actions. In fact, depending on how this rolls out, I might have him dead right here. I have... That right there is 8 damage, because each of those deals 2 damage, and then Doctor Strange will deal 2 on top of that. So each of that is 4, totaling to 8, and that right there is 10, and then all I'm going to have to do is swing out. So I actually have him dead right now. So I deal him 4, 8, dropping him to 4. I Prismatic Spray, dropping him to 2. And then he just does not have enough blockers. So this was a really good setup this round, this time around. And I was able to show him here that obviously I had 2 unblockable sidekicks because his characters would block my 2 biggest. And so that is the game. It was kind of like a race, that last game. See who could get to it first. It was a really fun, really competitive best of 3 series. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Next up will be another best of 3 that we played with 2 entirely different teams. Thanks for watching.